Hey there everybody, this is Brewha236 with another Sims 4 Studio video tutorial. And before I begin, I just want to let you know that Photoshop and GIMP both require a plugin, and the links to these are in the description below. This video is going to be done in 3 parts. It is texturing using Photoshop, Paint.net, and GIMP. First, we're going to start with Photoshop. So, let's navigate to our folder where our file is. Alright, I'm going to be doing a t-shirt this time. Go ahead and drag that over to your Photoshop program. And this NVIDIA DDS read properties window is going to pop up. It's going to say load using default sizes. Keep that radio button checked. Below that, you have 2 checkboxes where it says load bitmaps and load flipped vertically. You want to keep both of those unchecked. I usually keep this show dialog box checked just in case I want to change settings on import. Alright, hit OK. This is how it's going to look when it first loads up. The Sims 4, I don't know why, but they chose green as their default color instead of transparent. But we're not going to worry about that. It doesn't make that much difference. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Now with Photoshop, there's a couple of different keyboard shortcuts, like zoom, just scrolling your mouse in and out. And if you hit Alt and Control and your mouse button, it will go left and right. If you just hit Alt, it'll go up and down. Alright, so now that we got that, I'm actually going to be doing a recolor of this. And one of the easiest ways I found to start off is by going to the Channels button, Channels tab, selecting the alpha channel, and if you look over here on the right, it'll show you that you can hit Control and a number and select that channel. We're just going to go ahead and click on alpha. You see how it turned black and white? Black is transparent, white is full color. We're going to go ahead and hit Control and click on the image on the alpha layer. What that'll do is it'll select all of the white on the alpha layer. Go back up to the full color RGB layer, then hit black and white adjustment. You see this two-tone square on the right hand side in the adjustments panel. Hit that. All of what you had selected will turn grayscale because it'll automatically create a layer mask. Alright, so next thing we're going to do, it could be done a couple of different ways, but what I'm going to show you is we're going to do a similar thing to just a minute ago. Go back to the alpha layer, Control left mouse button, then create a new color. Use the fill tool, the bucket tool. I'm just going to go ahead and fill it. Switch so that's on top. Then you see above the layers how it's got a little drop down box. These are all the presets for effects for that layer. I'm going to go ahead and choose Overlay. Because what that'll do is it'll make the grayscaled background come through. So hey, look, you just changed the color of your shirt. And if you hit Control and D as in dog, that will deselect. Alright. Now that is one way we're going to do it. But in this tutorial, I'm not quite finished yet. What I'm going to do is I've got another part I'm going to do. Say hello to the ponies. I'm going to grab Rainbow Dash here and drop it right into the image. And just drag right into the center of the front of that t-shirt. Pretty much get it as close as you can to the center. And then I also have a template set up. I'm going to go ahead and use my eyedropper and grab the eye color for this pony. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my magnetic lasso, go to my background, hold Alt, and click the eye on the background. Will hide all the other layers. And then just zoom in really close so you can see the neckline and everything. And just kind of outline the neckline. And when you get see how it creates a selection, and do the same thing with the back of the t-shirt. Magnetic selection. Sometimes it doesn't like to grab, but that is okay, because then we can just turn it to just a regular lasso tool and hold Shift to add, and Alt to take away. And then we're going to continue on to grab the sleeves. We're just going to use a marquee box, hold Shift, to grab all that. And then I'm also going to grab this right here. This is technically the bottom of the shirt, where the waist is, where they connect. Hold Shift, select that, and then zoom out. Oh, looks like it unselected the front of my neckline. I'm going to go ahead and use magnetic lasso again, holding Shift, and select all the neckline. And you'll know that the lines are connecting when a little tiny circle shows up next to the lasso tool See how I got a little extra right there? Use the Alt key to deselect it. There we go. Make sure I've got everything I want selected. So, the collars, sleeves, and the bottom. And next, what I'm going to do is hold the Alt key and hit the eyeball to show everything again. I'm going to select the top layer. Then go over here to my magic wand and hold the Alt key to subtract. I'm going to go out here because that's all transparent. Everywhere you see the green is transparent. Go ahead and that will deselect anything that's transparent that I have selected, because this was a square, now it's round. Let's go ahead. I'll show you. See how it's square down here? Deselected everything that's transparent. This little button right here, that's your history, which shows you your last 20 steps, 15 steps, something like that. Okay, now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and hit New Layer, which is next to a little trash can down in the bottom right hand corner. I'm pretty sure you can't see it because of the logo, but it's a little what looks like it's a folded dog-eared page. It's between a trash can and a folder. You want to click that for a new page or new layer. Then we're going to go ahead and hit Fill again and zoom in to our selected area. Alright, now that's all filled in with that color. We're going to change this to Overlay. That'll change all the color. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag my rainbow dash into the scene. That's going to create another layer. And grab that pony and put it right in the middle of the shirt. Using the arrow keys, we'll tweak placement. That looks about right to me. Near the top, you'll see a check or a circle with a line through it. Hit the check or hit enter. That will say, yes, that's what I want. Then, now that we've done all that, go hit File, Save As. And it's going to be a DDS. On the Photoshop drop down in the save, you'll see D3D/DDS. Select that. And this is rainbow dash. And hit save. You'll get this pop-up box. You're going to want DTX5 ARGB 8BPP interpolated alpha. That's what you want. 2D texture, and radio button generate MIP maps. That's what you want. Anything else, it's not going to work right for what we want. Then we hit save. Okay? And that's all that needs to be done with Photoshop. Bear with me just a moment while I get Paint.net going. Hey there, everybody. Now that I've got Paint.net up, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing we did just a minute ago. Grab that base t-shirt, drag and drop, get a dialog, open. And it looks a little different. This program shows it as it is with the transparency. So, it's just a little bit different, but very similar. We're going to be doing the same type of thing. However, it'll be slightly different. Let's go ahead with the Magic Wand tool and select the transparent area. If you hit Control I, that will invert the selection. So there you go. Now we've got everything else selected. We got all the t-shirt parts selected. We're going to go ahead and go to Adjustments in the top bar and black and white. And if you look, there's a keyboard shortcut that tells you exactly what it is. It's Control, Shift, and G to do black and white. And then that's black and white. Next, we're going to go ahead and click Add New Layer. And we still got all that selected. We're going to go ahead and grab our next template. I got palette, Use the eyedropper tool. Let's see, I'm going to use this one. Alright. Go back to the t-shirt. Hit the bucket tool. Flood mode is going to be global. And if you see up in the top left, you'll see flood mode. Global or contiguous. What contiguous means is that only one part of the selection will be filled. Using global means everything will be filled. Alright, so filled. And then down here is your little layers box, which these guys are all customizable, just like most editing programs. Down in the very bottom corner of that box is the Properties button. I want to pop it open. Shift it off to the side for it. And then the mode, same thing. Overlay mode. And click OK. And we're going to be doing the same thing again with the neckline. Alright, so go ahead and create a new layer. Let's see, and if you look up at the top at all these buttons and everything, you'll see one that's got a red X over a little blue square. That's a deselect, to get rid of your selection. So click that to unselect everything. And here's our lasso tool. Now the controls on this program are a little bit different. Still haven't figured out how to scroll sideways, but we'll just use the bar down at the bottom. To zoom in, you have to hit Control and the mouse button, or on the mouse wheel. Alright. So we're just going to go ahead and lasso around the neckline. Just like we did with the last one. And this time holding Control will be your adding to your selection. Go ahead and select all of the neckline. And then again with the rectangle selection or marquee tool, hit Control, and select the sleeve, cuff, and then scroll down to the bottom, grab all this guy, and Control and zoom out. And it looked like it didn't take my selections. Alright, so we'll go back a few steps to see where it dropped. Oh, right there. Control, select. There we go. Now what we're going to do is go back to the magic wand tool and hold Alt and hit the transparent area. That will deselect any transparent pixels. And I'm actually going to zoom in to fix this right here using Alt. Deselect. Using Control to select. Alright. Now that we've got all that, go to our top layer, select our other color. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll use the blue for the eye. Yeah. Back over here, bucket tool, Control middle mouse button to zoom, and click inside the selected area. Down to the layer properties. Going to turn that to overlay again. Okay. And deselect it. And you see it's turning out alright. It's a white shirt with a blue collar and sleeves. One more step. I'm going to drop in our pony. I'm going to add layer. Alright. And that dropped it right up here. And we're going to use the selection tool. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And grab that, drag it down. And if you hold the Shift button when you resize, it will keep it square. If you don't, you're going to end up with a lopsided top image. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom in on that, see how we're looking as far as placement wise. Maybe shrink that a little bit more. There we go. And zoom out a little bit. And we're done, so we're going to go ahead and hit File, Save As. Change to DDS, Direct Draw Surface. Okay. Change the name, of course. And we're going to be using another pop-up here. Comes with DTX5 interpolated alpha. That's what we want. Cluster fits fine. Perceptual's fine. Down here, generate MIP maps you want. And the drop down here of Fant. That's what you want. Then you'll see right here, the preview and the file size is 2.7 megabytes, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. You can scroll down to see final image, what it'll look like. Hit OK. And saving the file format requires that the image first be flattened, which reduces to a single layer. That's fine. That's what we want. So yeah, flatten. Saving. Alright. And that's all that in Paint.net. And I'll be back in just a couple of seconds with GIMP. Alright, now we're back. Here's GIMP. I'm going to go ahead and grab my t-shirt, drop it in there. It'll pop up, ask you to load the MIP maps. Do not load the MIP maps. Hit the uncheck that box. Click OK. And there it is. Now this layout is a little bit different, but we're going to be doing pretty much the exact same thing. Select all the transparent with the magic wand. Select all that. Hit Control I to select the invert, which is all the t-shirt and stuff. Then we're going to go up here to Tool Colors and hit Desaturate. That would be removing the colors. I usually use average, but you've got a couple of different options, lightness and luminosity. Like I said, I usually use average. Click OK. So now we've got that all grayscaled. Now we are going to go ahead over to the right hand side right here, and that duplicates the layer, but that's not what we want. We're actually going to go ahead to this one and hit New Layer. And then you got a dialog that pops up. Name, size, whether it's going to be foreground color, background color, white, or transparency for the layer fill type. I usually stick with transparency. OK. Then we're going to go ahead and use the eyedropper tool Where are you? Oh yeah, that's right. Open recent. That color. And we're going to go over here switch it and hit that color. Then I can go ahead and close that since I got my two colors selected. I'm going to use the lighter color as the base color. So go ahead and grab your bucket tool. And if you look, you can see that it has a tooltip with a keyboard shortcut in it. So that's Shift B for future reference. And down here, it tells you your bucket fill mode, your opacity, if you want to have pattern fill, fill whole selection or part of the selection. I usually hit the radio button of fill whole selection because that takes care of everything. And hit fill. Now over on the far right where your layer tabs are, you'll see opacity, and just above that is mode, normal, and a little arrow on the right. Click the little arrow, go all the way down to overlay. And there it is. We now have a purple shirt. Go ahead and swap colors. Create a new layer. This pops up again every time. It's transparency. OK. Select none, and here is Shift Control A. So Shift Control A. Alright, and we got our lasso tool again. Alright. Zoom in on our selection and draw around the neckline. Holding Shift down to add to selection. And you notice that little yellow dot that popped up? That means you're closing your circle. Alright. Holding down Control and your middle mouse button will zoom in and out. Then over here we want to use the box, the rectangle select tool, and here the keyboard shortcut is R. And again, hold down Shift to add to selection. And one thing I do like about GIMP is that it has additional properties for your rectangle tool, rectangle select tool, that you can resize it at will just by going to the edges and once it gets small enough it'll swap to those tools on the outside. 9 times out of 10 they're on the inside. And do that again, hold down Shift, create our little box, resize it a little bit, and we can't forget about the bottom. Holding down Shift, selecting all that, Control and the wheel mouse to scroll out, Now back to the magic wand tool. Holding Alt is usually the deselect, but not this time. And let's see. There it is, Control. And select the transparent area. But you gotta make sure you're on the right layer. There we go. Now go back over to that layer. Hit our bucket tool. Fill whole selection. Over on the right hand side, that little drop down arrow to overlay. Select none, Control Shift A. And there you go. One more step, add our pony. And it's going to be Twilight Sparkle this time. And for this one, it doesn't have an arrow, it's got a crosshair underneath the scissors for the move tool. And then it has a separate scale tool, but it also has, where's the transform? I lost it. There it is. Transform, flip horizontal, rotate 90. But scale image does the entire image. It's not what we want. So we'll just go ahead and use the scale tool. Get a box that pops up. And this right here makes it stay the same shape. That's locking the aspect ratio. You can either use the up and down radio buttons, type in a digit, or you can even do manually over here on the image. Me personally, I like doing it on the image better because you have a little bit more control. And another thing about this is it won't scale it until you hit the word scale in that pop-up box. So you still see the original size right there. And I'm going to stick with that. Hit scale. Zoom out. There you go. I almost forgot. One last thing before you save, or export rather, is you actually have to merge visible layers. To get this menu to pop up, you right click on one of your layers, go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see merge visible layers. And expand as necessary is fine. Discard invisible layers. Don't even worry about that. just hit merge. And then we export as, and we select our file, export, replace it, compression, DTX5, generate bitmaps, OK, and then we're done. Alright, see you in a few seconds. Here we are in the Sims 4 studio. I'm going to open up one of my previous projects. Loading. Loading. And here we are. And you see that I've already imported a couple of textures here. Got 3 swatches already. Let's go ahead and add a new swatch. I'm going to make it this light blue color. Then we're going to select it. And now import our new texture. This is just like the last video, where number 2, where I did the glasses. It's the same thing. Adding swatches, adding in textures. Alright. See, now I've got 4. Add swatch. And this time I'm just going to define a quick light gray. Add to custom colors, select, OK. Select it on the text swatch drop down. Give it a second to load. Import texture. And last but not least, I'm going to add one more swatch. It's going to be this purpley color right here. Right, I have to actually switch to it first. Import texture. Alright, and there's the new texture. Go ahead, hit save. Your package has been saved. Alright, here we are in game, in CIS mode, of course. Say hi to Anna, Elsa's sister. Let's go ahead and change her clothes. And here they are, right here. Got all 6 of my swatches. They show up just perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and give her Twilight Sparkle. Alright, that's the end of this video tutorial. This has been Bruja236 for The Sims 4 Studio. Have a great day and see you next time.